So your partner's different now. Not the same person that they started as. What do you do about it? Let's get into it. Before we get into the video, I gotta wish you all a happy, healthy new year. It's 2017. If you're watching this, I hope that this year is much better than last year. May whatever goals and things that you set out to do last year that you didn't accomplish be done this year. Get focused. Hopefully through these videos that I share with you, I can help you along the way. Please share your success with us. Let us know what's going on in your life. But without further ado, let's get to 2017's first video. Somebody reached out to me. They had a great question. And I actually had 4 different topics to pick from today. I'm going to share the other ones later videos. But this is what we're going to start off 2017 with. A little relationship advice. I'm going to get right into the question. So here it is. How come people drastically change who they are in the beginning of a relationship after some time? At what point do people show their true selves? How do you handle things if you do not like the new person or the real person? If you're not vibing with the person, especially when time is already invested and there's children involved. So, like I said, I think this is a great question, and this is something that I'm very excited to talk about. I think it's something that happens in a lot of relationships, and especially if you're in your first few relationships or you've been in a long-term relationship and you haven't had multiple relationships. This is definitely something that comes up. I've been through it. I know a lot of people who have been through it, so I'm very excited to get into this. So I'm going to break it down into the 3 parts. Each part of the question, I'll touch on each part to make sure that we're covering everything that was asked in the question. So first, your partner has changed up. They're different now, and it's dramatic. It's drastic. The difference it stands out a lot to you. So one of the things to keep in mind in the beginning of any relationship, we typically do things because we want something. There's something that we're trying to get, and typically we don't know our partner well enough to know whether or not we could show our true selves to get what we want. So we're going to do other things, or we're going to do things to get them interested, to get them, to hook them. And then once we got them, little by little we'll start to show our true selves, because they're also invested as well. Now they're in it. They want to make sure that they see this through just as much as you do. So that's the first part. In the very beginning, we're gonna kind of be that person that's gonna do whatever, say whatever it takes to get what we want. Another part of that is they're trying to figure out what you're okay with, right? So the second part of that is that they're restricting what they're gonna show you because they're not comfortable. They're not comfortable in what they know about you and what you're okay with yet to show you their true selves. So it's very important, and that's like basically the biggest problem that's here right now, is that they're not comfortable. It happens all the time, and in order for that person to feel comfortable, their partner has to take, not just try to make them comfortable, like they have to make it a point. They have to do everything to make them feel comfortable. So you can't just sit there thinking that your partner is gonna show you their true self and they're gonna be all open with you if you're not being open, nor are you making a point to make them comfortable to open up. Especially when you're first starting out in a relationship, you don't know their past, you don't know what they've been through, you don't know their experiences. You have to do everything you can to make them comfortable, to get them to that point where they could say, yes, this is what I've been through, this is what's going on, and they could start to show you who they truly are without being in fear that when they show you who they are, you're gonna run away. That's something that they may have been through. They may have tried that before. They may have tried to be the true self, and then it scared somebody off, right? So you have to keep that in mind as well. One of the biggest problems with not showing your true selves, or one of the reasons why it happens so much, is because you have people that are trying to be accepted. They're trying to do things to be accepted by someone rather than being welcomed by someone. And there's a very big difference between being accepted and being welcomed. So if you've ever walked into a room and you talk to somebody, that you know likes you. Your attitude is very different. You're welcome, so you're being yourself. But if you walk into a room and you're not really sure if how somebody's feeling about you and it's unclear, you might be a little bit different. You might do things to be accepted. Now, this isn't for everybody, and I'm sure there's some people out there that are going to say, no, I'm the same person wherever I go. Fine. You believe that. But I know I've done it. I've gone to places, and I know the vibe is there, and you could just feel the energy is positive, and I could be myself. Then there's other times you walk into a room and you're unsure. So you kind of restrict what you say, you kind of restrict what you do, and you may even say things or do things that's not typically who you are because you're not really sure if you could show yourself. The comfort level's not there, nor is the trust built yet. Something to keep in mind when you're talking about relationships. When you first get started, it's they're trying to be accepted by you rather than being welcomed. So make sure that they feel welcomed. Do whatever you can to make them feel welcomed. Okay, so the second part of the question was, when will their true person come out? Like how long before they really show themselves? Obviously, that's going to depend on the relationship, depending on each person, depending on how the chemistry is and things like that in the relationship. But basically, one of the things that I wanted to really point out was that people show their true selves when they are comfortable. And I kind of touched on that before, but I really want to emphasize on that. The more comfortable the person is, the more that they're going to come out of their show. In my experience, one of the ways to make somebody feel comfortable is getting to know them. Actually taking the time to ask questions. One of the games that I've played before in the past and getting to know somebody is 21 questions. Definitely make sure that you're targeting the questions to get to know the person, getting to know their habits, getting to know what gets them to tick, what's their motivations, what's their favorite color, things like that. It's just something to get the ball rolling, to make them feel comfortable that you really want to get to know them and that you're really investing the time into that person. So that's something to think about. Make them feel comfortable. It's gonna shorten the time that it takes to make that person feel comfortable to show their true self. The other thing is, you were kind of looking at this in the question. The problem was that there's years invested, there's time invested now, right? So that's the problem, is that sometimes it could take years for someone to open up, to get comfortable, to make themselves either sometimes force themselves or you pull it out of them to feel comfortable. But in order for you to do something, like what can you do to make them feel more comfortable? That needs to be the question. You have to make an effort to bring that out of them, to allow them to be themselves. And to that part of the question, how long does it take? It's going to vary. So let's go to question 3. Question 3 was in regards to when there's children involved and time invested, children involved. What was the last part of that? When you're not vibing, that's what it was. When you're not really vibing with the new person, the real version of them, what do you do then? So very, very important. Before I go any further, I got to touch on the children. Me, myself, having 2 children, I know that they're my world. I know they're the most important thing to me. But you need to keep in mind, in order for you to be 100% for your children, in order for your children to be 100%, you need to be 100%. Meaning, in your relationship, if you're fighting, if there's arguments all the time, or most importantly, you're not showing each other love, what are you truly teaching your children? If you're not vibing with that person and things are not good, what are you teaching your child? You're not really showing them what love is. And now they're going to grow up in an environment where there's no love, and they're going to accept that into their own life. And when they start to get into relationships, they're going to think that's okay. This is the norm. You don't want that. You'd rather be apart and co-parent together and show them that we could still have respect for each other. We could still have love for each other even though we're not together. And then you'll go on and meet the right person, and that person will go on and meet the right person, and then your child will see what love really looks like. Maybe it wasn't meant to be. Maybe you guys weren't meant to be together. So that's the first part. But if you're just holding on because of the children, there's a problem. Now, if you're still together, you haven't gotten divorced, or you're not broken up yet, that means there's still time. That means there's still an effort that could be made to turn this around. So that's something that really, really, really needs to be thought about. Okay, cool. All right, so another part of that is that sometimes we naturally hold on to things that no longer serve us. Out of comfort, for the most part, I think it's comfort. So I'm gonna stick with that. Out of comfort, we hold on to things that no longer serve us. Even with people, we do the same thing. So in a relationship like this, although you're not vibing with the person anymore, you might be holding on. Even though you're not in love anymore, you may not even like to be around the person anymore, but you're still holding on to something because you're comfortable. You're used to the day-to-day things that you go through, and you don't want to start all over. And that's understandable, but you have to. You have to, because you deserve to be happy. Your partner deserves to be happy. So this is something that you're going to have to do. If this no longer serves you and you're just not clicking, the vibe isn't there anymore, or whatever it is, you have to move on. You need to sit down with your partner. We've been through some things, and really discuss whether you could come back from it or you can't. That's something that you guys are going to have to talk about. In order to move forward, in order for you guys to get past this and continue on as friends or co-parenting and things like that, you'll have to have that conversation and really figure out, is it worth it? Can we really stick it out? Can we go the distance? And if you're not, you have to be able to high-five each other. See you later. Let's start working on co-parenting and go that route. Now, the last part to this question right here is kind of to touch on if you guys are still together and you really still want it to work, you're going to have to start accepting the new them. You're going to have to re-fall in love. You may just like this person now, or you just may like or love the idea that you were once in love with that person. And that's cool. But now you're going to have to accept the real them. You're going to have to tell yourself and really determine whether or not this is something you could accept. There's certain things that are characteristics about someone that they can't really change, and then there's things that are habits that they could change. And maybe those are two different things that you need to analyze and really see, like, okay, I could accept this, not that. I love this about the person and overshadows all these other things. But you have to take an inventory of your relationship, inventory of this person, and really see, can I fall in love with this person, the new person, the real person? Can I fall in love with that person? And once you've done that, you can make a decision. And don't sit, harbor, and try to figure it out. Don't make it a project. Make a decision and stick to that decision and move forward. All right. So we touched on all the answers and we answered the questions, right? But what we're doing right now is we're kind of being reactive versus proactive. And when we're reactive, we're dealing with a problem and trying to find the solution. What I want to propose is the proactive side of it. How do we fix this problem before it even comes up?